Hey everybody, Bran here. Starting with the testosterone update. I know I haven't been around to make testosterone updates for a while. It's been 5.5 months on testosterone. Um, I did miss my shot 2 weeks ago because I was on vacation. It's also part of the reason I didn't make a video. I looked up beforehand what the effects of missing a shot were, and they said just generally feeling a little bit more tired than usual. I didn't feel more tired than usual the week I missed my shot, but strangely I did feel more tired this week after I got my shot, so that's interesting. I didn't mean to miss my shot. I did bring most of the stuff, but then we got back late on Tuesday night, which is when I take my shot, and then I had allergies, and I didn't want to stab myself with a needle while I was sneezing, so, details. My voice has been still getting deeper, and it's been cracking a lot. Like, on the day before I missed my shot, I was, like, cracked all day. Like, hello, this is Bran. Yeah, other than that, I haven't been really noticing much. I haven't been working out much either. I've been just hiking a ton, which just means my legs are tired. So that's happening in my life. It's a testosterone update. Moving right along to the question of the week. This weekend is Pride weekend here in most of the U.S. actually. So the question of the week is, what is Pride? Why do we have a parade? And what do I think of it? That's kind of, multiple questions. So first of all, what is Pride and why is it at the end of June? So the original impetus for Pride is the Stonewall riots, and I looked up on Wikipedia, because I'm so great at my sources, but I've read this story a lot. I just want to make sure I got the dates right. So the Pride Parade was started with the Stonewall riots in New York on June 28th, 1969, at the Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village. So at the time, it was illegal to be gay, lesbian, trans, basically. Or if it wasn't that specifically illegal, like being open about it, being a drag queen, that kind of thing, gay bars were not generally tolerated. And Stonewall Inn was a queer bar frequented by a lot of trans people and impoverished people and gays and lesbians, and there was a police raid, as was fairly frequent at the time. And specifically the trans women are known for starting this movement. At the end, like, no, we're done. Like, stop arresting us for existing. This is dumb. And that kind of was the start of the LGBTQIA+ activist movement. Like, within a year or so, it said in the Wikipedia article, there were more newspapers, and multiple groups, and this Stonewall riots is generally seen as the start of the LGBTQIA rights movement in the U.S. So whether this specific data in the Wikipedia article that I just looked up is accurate or not, definitely the founding moment. So that's what Pride is. That's why it's at the end of June. What Pride is now, it seems to me, at least in this area, which is a very liberal area, and also in the other places that I've been to Pride parades along the West Coast, it's just basically like a really long party and dancing in the streets. It's definitely got a very corporate element. I marched with a tech company in San Francisco, which I didn't actually work for, just my friends worked for it. And generally, lots of tech companies and bangs and things like that support the rally. And it's just a lot of people dancing in the streets for a day, which is interesting and great, I guess. And there are also a lot of different LGBTQIA+ groups. So when I went to the one in San Francisco, there was a castle, which is a BDSM safe space where people can go and make sure people will make sure they're healthy and safe if something goes wrong. There was like a nudist group. There was a group advertising for the release of Caitlyn Jenner, or not Caitlyn Jenner, sorry, Chelsea and Manning. Chelsea and Manning. Those are very different people. Chelsea and Manning. And because she was this was 3 years ago, so she was in prison for treason at the time, which, you know, treason is a crime and really had nothing to do with her being trans. Discussion for another time. So, like, the Pride Parade brings together a lot of different groups, and they all have very different agendas. Some of them are just there to have fun, some of them are there to advertise, some of them are there to, like, advance a very specific agenda, and some people are just there to party. It's kind of a really weird, broad mix, because LGBTQIA plus people cover, like, the entire spectrum of society, so it makes sense that if you get, like, thousands of them there at a Pride Parade, you're going to have a whole lot of different perspectives. This is a little bit this is not what I expected from when I went to my first Pride Parade, which was, again, 2 years ago. I was expecting to be a lot more like what the Women's March is like, where, obviously there's been a lot of progress in women's rights in the last 200 years, or 300 years, or going however back you want to go. Like, women have been doing great things. We have suffrage now. Awesome, women can vote. But the Women's March started like 2 years ago, or a year ago, and it's still talking about, like, very relevant issues, and there are a lot of very relevant issues for trans and gay people still, like things like bathroom laws, stuff like that. So I kind of expected Pride Parade to be sort of in that spirit, like an inspirational march to get you to keep advancing, like, keep making sure that people were continuing to deal with the various LGBTQIA plus issues that people are encountering. And I was a little bit disappointed that that wasn't the case. But I think there's definitely value in, like, having a Pride Parade, celebrating that people are different. My roommate asked me on the today, like, do you think we ever won't have a Pride Parade? And we, like, kind of together came to the conclusion, like, yes, probably at some point, like, even if like all queer people are treated equally and, like, society transcends, we're still gonna have, like, people want to party and celebrate that society has come so far. So, like, cool, like, having a party is great. I just didn't realize we were at that point already. I did not march at the parade this year. I did march at the Trans Pride Parade. My roommate came along too, which is on Friday. For some reason, we have 3 Pride Parades. We have the Trans Pride Parade on Friday night, the Dyke March on Saturday, that's actually what it's called, and the, like, big Pride Parade on Sunday. So the Trans Pride Parade was actually great and amazing. We just walked around this park in downtown, and then at the end there were a bunch of booths. My roommate and I ended up going to every single booth. Again, there's, like, a really wide variety of different groups being represented. Like, there was actually basically, like, the NRA for trans people, and a group that was saying, don't protest the trans military ban because we shouldn't have a military, like, within 10 feet of each other. So that's just giving you an idea of how broad the spectrum is. I find both of those, like, a bit extreme. But it was great. I got to meet some people from the Microsoft trans community, and they were really cool, so I probably am actually going to start going to some of the events now. There was, like, a repair shop, and they have classes so you can learn how to repair your car. There was a church. The library was there. UW Medical. They had some bands. They had a group teaching sign language, like, this is the sign for pride. I'm probably doing it wrong. I apologize. Oh, and there's somebody with books, so I actually got a book. It's called We're Still Here, and it's an anthology of trans comics, all trans comics, all trans. They're trans comics written by trans authors. Um, Comic usually means stand-up comedian, not that. I read the whole thing already, and it's really good. Not all safe for work, but definitely interesting and gave me some and helped me think. And I definitely happy it's here, and there were definitely trans men in it, which is really cool. So yeah, that I'm glad Pride exists, and I'm glad I got to meet people like me at the Trans Pride Parade. It was great. The Trans Pride Parade was really small, like maybe a few hundred, but there were people like me there, and that's awesome. Yeah, anyway, I will try to get back to making videos regularly. I am not making any promises, but I will see you next time I see you. And if you have any questions about pride, about life, about testosterone, I would love to answer them. Please, really, questions would be awesome. Yeah. Bye!